Hello again, and I apologise for the hair and the look. It's early here, and I normally go for a run and then a shower. And today, if I thought to myself, if I don't shoot this video, I'm not going to get a chance. And yeah, and anyway, big tech layoffs and. In the news that we've had a couple of times recently. So this is January 2023. We are being told that a lot of redundancies are happening in the tech space. Companies like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and many others actually. What's interesting is Twitter has made a lot of people redundant, and yet the company still, it's still functioning. I've thought that during the pandemic, this recruitment drive that a lot of the tech social media companies, their growth plans and their recruiting drives were a little overkill. Perhaps they were right, thinking that the pandemic would be a great time to recruit, because a lot of that staff can be at home and work from home, and of course we were all forced to do that anyway. And also, it is natural for a large business like that to have 1 year and 2 year HR plans and strategies. And they will go through cycles of recruiting staff, and once, normally twice a year, they will look at their staffing profile, and they will look at their productivity of departments, and even down to individuals actually, and they will naturally look at letting some people go anyway. It doesn't necessarily mean that that the individuals are not very good. It doesn't always mean that. It can mean that these large companies, a manager or an executive might take the view that he feels that the company, the staffing capability in an area that he might be in control of, often they will take the view that they're going to lose between 5 and 10% of staff, simply because it's the time of the year, and they know that they're going to make some savings on payroll, but also it might be a way of testing how the company responds to that. They will know that the work deliverables in those departments will actually transfer to other people. And what tends to happen is sometimes you can let a number of people go, but yet your monthly reports are still indicating that all the work is being done, that the productivity targets are still there. Yet you're in the knowledge that you've let 5-10% of people go. You've made them redundant from that department, and then that always it can create some interesting board level chats or executive level chats amongst the managers in the organization, because a CEO or a chairman might turn around to a department head and say, I've been looking at your figures here, and I can see that for 6 months we had X amount of people here, and we had productivity of this amount. Yet at this point in the year, you let 10% go, and I'm looking at your performance, your management figures here, and I can see that nothing has changed. You are continuing to deliver the work that you need to, but you have 10% less people. And people, chairmen and directors and shareholders tend to like that, because they know that the payroll has instantly come down by 10%. So you're shaving off costs there. But that doesn't always happen. What happens also is Somebody might think that they can let a lot of staff go, that they can let staff go, and they might think the work will be taken up by the existing staff. They can think that. But if they don't really know what they're doing, what they are going to find, what they will find, is that all of a sudden things don't get done. That productivity has literally gone down a lot more than they expected. And also you can have a lot of discomfort. Staff can be a little cross because they, one or two individuals or departments pick up a lot of work, extra work, and they were already working very hard anyway. So you can get some disgruntled staff as a result of layoffs. It can cause all sorts of problems. Once again, it points to the quality and the effectiveness of the executives in the organisation that are making these decisions. But again, one of the points I want to make is that staff layoffs in large companies happen automatically anyway. It doesn't necessarily mean that if you have been made redundant that you're not very good. In fact, most of the time it doesn't mean that at all. It means that the business has simply taken a view and you've been made redundant because the business has changed. It's not a reflection of your skills or your work at all. Although if you're not getting on very well with the business, or you're out of place, or you've fallen out with your boss, redundancy and being called that way, that could be an excuse. The management could have thought, or the person that's making the redundancies might have thought, I'd like to let these people go anyway because I don't like them. And I suppose at that point there's not a lot you can do, because you're dealing with someone's personality and what they feel like. But on the whole, good managers, don't make decisions based on what they feel like. They make decisions on what's best for the business. They are simply managing the internal value build chain, the demands on the business, the demands on them, and they are simply managing human resource and other resources to the best of their ability to create and deliver deliverables that's either a service or a product. And recruiting people and making people redundant, HR turnover is a natural course of events in a large organisations. But I suppose what might be interesting right now is a lot of the big tech have let a lot of people go, and there is a little bit of contagion here. Maybe one of the CEOs has noticed that the other CEO has let a lot of people go, and they thought, I wonder if I should do that as well, because it sort of makes sense. We're essentially a software company, and if John and Samantha down there, if I let them go, Paul and Peter will pick up that work, and if they don't, it won't break the business. I can always get Samantha and Paul back if I need to, but let's make the decision anyway. Let's fire them and see what happens. And I bet you a few of the tech companies have done that. They've simply thought, there's a quick win here. Let's fire a few people and see how the business responds. Because we can always fix this retrospectively, because we can always rehire those people back. And actually, now I've said that, I have a feeling Twitter has done that. So I suppose it's a little unfair to the individual that's messed around, the employee that's messed about. But it does happen. But yeah, once again, we're back to, is this bad? Is this a sign of the times? Do we all need to be worrying? And I would say this sounds very normal to me because of the last 2 years, because of working from home, because of the growth that a lot of the working from home providers have enjoyed whilst we've all been locked up at home. And naturally, as things go back to a more open work situation, I imagine that lots of tech companies in particular have thought, we don't need all the people that we had recruited additionally. And yeah, they've probably looked at exactly who they do need, their productivity levels, and what the staffing needs really are. I imagine that will have happened, but let me tell you, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes executives in large companies can simply wake up one morning and think, I'm going to let 10% of people go. The business will be fine and I will save all that money on the cost. So I'm going to do that. And some people will make that decision. Believe me, that they, especially in the tech environment. I'm not saying that's happened. I am saying that in business that does happen. Anyway, my point is, these layoffs don't sound too bad really, although it could be bad for the individual on an individual level, of course, because we know that prices have risen. We know that the cost of living in particular has gone up. And if someone has been enjoying a new job and they have a mortgage, I really feel for anyone that has bills to pay, because that's really unpleasant pressure. And yeah, I imagine people could be in that position. And I hope that if someone is in that position, I do hope that they found something else very quickly and that life's going okay for them. Anyway, at that, I hope everyone is well, and I hope again to speak to everyone. Goodbye for now.